The Monster Mile, they call this 1 mile track here at the Dover Downs International Speedway. It's one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. You know, before they came here, they ran the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. That's the longest race in miles, but it takes longer to run 500 miles here than there, and it really is tough. Every driver will tell you that. But Randy, before the race, there was some news, including some drivers and some other personnel in the sport.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of news that came out of Dover, but what did came during qualifying. Sterling Marlin failed to complete a lap when he suffered mechanical failure. And the King Richard Petty lost his Pontiac in turn 2. Well, Rusty Wallace appeared to have his second Busch Pole Award of the season, but Michael Waltrip was the next car on the track, and he turned in a great time, capturing his very first career Winston Cup pole position. Well, the biggest news in the driver change department came when Dick Moroso decided to go to a limited schedule with his Oldsmobile team. Therefore, Bobby Hillin Jr. was looking for a car to drive. Jimmy Means decided to get out of his Alka-Seltzer Pontiac and let Hillin compete in that car for 2 events. Now, Hillin will then drive the Mellow Yellow Pontiacs for Kyle Petty. But first, there were 2 drivers looking at their last race in substitute roles. That was Kenny Wallace substituting for Kyle Petty here at Dover, and also Tommy Ellis substituting for the injured Jeff Bodine. Now, Bodine will make the start at Sears Point, but a relief driver will be standing by out there. Now, there were 2 crew member changes for Derek Cope's Purelator Chevrolet team. Greg Whitcomb has been relieved of his duties there, and also Brad Parrott.
Today's Winston Cup highlights are brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
No one had more to prove than the driver of the Pennzoil Pontiac, Michael Waltrip, coming in 8th in points and now a pole position in his pocket.
Michael, what do you think? You've won a Busch race here. Now you got your first career pole. Is this the day we're going to see in Victory Lane?
It'd be nice. We're running off a well. Try to make that starting place pay a little bit extra thanks to Union today.
Yeah, who's going to be the toughest competition you think out there?
Oh, man, Mark Martin's running real good, but all the guys that work on the Pennzoil Pontiac has done a super job this week. We think we're prepared, so we should have a good shot.
Good luck for you today.
Thanks.
But Rusty Wallace picked Mike's pocket and robbed him of the point only 15 laps in. Dale Jarrett forced the first caution flag on lap 20 when he crashed his Citgo Ford in turn 2. Michael's chance at victory ended when he became victim of mechanical failure and found himself in the garage area only 40 laps in. But Michael wasn't the only one that had tough times on the day. It certainly wasn't Miller time, as Rusty twice pitted for cut tires, eventually losing 2 laps and finishing 9th. Dale Earnhardt's luck was much better. He checked out and charged through the field, flying by Davey Allison only 73 laps in to put him a lap down, and he lapped all but 9 cars only 125 miles into the 500-mile contest. Bobby Hillin's day was interrupted by a brief fire. Michael Waltrip called it quits after coming back and crashing in turn 4. Earnhardt also had his troubles as he cut a tire and eventually went a lap down. And that's what caused the best racing of the day. Mark Martin, who led it halfway and had his Ford out front for 79 laps, tried to put Dale a lap down. Then Gant got by Martin and gave Dale the same business. But with a smoke-filled pit road for Chad Little's blown motor, a miscommunication made Gant go by pit road under caution. Earnhardt finally got back on the lead lap when Jimmy Spencer and Morgan Shepherd were charging hard into turn 1, and Spencer came down on Shepherd. Spencer got the worst of it, crashing in turn 2. Hut Strickland also got back on the lead lap, but could never quite get to the front, but finished a strong 6th on the lead lap. As the race closed in on a finish, Ken Schrader ferociously fought his way past Earnhardt and into the lead. And from there on in, the show was over. Earnhardt tried to shorten his gap between he and Schrader's Chevys over the final 78 laps, but to no avail. Kenny came home on top, followed by Dale, Harry Gant, Ernie Irvin, and Mark Martin.
There was a lot of times we were running 6th, 5th, that we weren't the 5th, 6th fastest car. You know, we could a little bit faster, but we just kind of rode. The guys did outstanding bringing me in before everybody came and put me up front. Followed Dale for about 10 laps there. I found where I could do it, and I figured I'm only going to get one shot, you know, because he can make life miserable on you, and it's special, you know, to race with Dale.
race being run today at Sears Point in California will be much shorter in time and much easier on the drivers. We need to take a short break. Still to come is a story on the new scoring in NASCAR. And as we leave you for this break, here's the balance of the finishing order for the Budweiser 500.